Ladies and gentlemen, let me hit you with a reality check. Every time you walk into a meeting, you're either gaining influence or you're losing it. There's no neutral ground. You're either being seen as someone people want to listen to, someone who brings value, and someone whose voice matters, or you're being overlooked, dismissed, and not seriously considered for elevation. And you know what? Most people don't even realize it. They think meetings are just obligations, just another thing on the calendar. They show up, they sit down, they go through the motions, and they keep the camera off on virtual meetings. And then they wonder why nothing in their career is changing. Let me tell you something. Meetings are stages, they're auditions, they're proving grounds, and the way you show up in them is shaping your reputation, your opportunities, and it's shaping your future. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself right now. When you walk out of the meeting, do people remember what you said? Do they feel your presence? And do they see you as a valuable contributor? Because if the answer is no, then we've got work to do. Today, I'm going to give you the exact strategy, step by step, that will make you stand out, that will make you respected, and that will give you the kind of influence that shifts the entire energy of the room. Are you ready? Now listen, meetings in this day and age aren't the meetings of the past, and we're not sitting around with coffee and paper notepads anymore. We're in the era of AI assistants taking notes and hybrid teams scattered across time zones, constant Slack notifications buzzing in the background, and attention spans that are shorter than a TikTok clip. And in that kind of environment, if you can't command attention, you can't create impact. You can get lost in the noise. But if you can influence, then you can show up with presence, with clarity, credibility, and interpersonal confidence. You immediately stand out. And when you stand out, opportunities start finding you. Projects come your way and promotions open up. Leaders look at you and say, that's the person who gets it. That's the one that we can count on. That's why this matters. This isn't about etiquette. This isn't about being polite. This is about power. It's about presence and positioning yourself. So let's dive into the strategies that'll make you impossible to ignore. Now, first, just know this. Influence doesn't begin when the meeting starts. It begins before you even walk in. So do your homework. Google the names and read the company bios and check LinkedIn. Also use AI to summarize someone's career. In short, just learn what matters to the people in that room. Because when you walk in and you already know who's who, you're not walking in blind. You have leverage now. And here's the thing. When you mention something specific, something you couldn't possibly know unless you cared enough to prepare, people feel it. They feel seen. Let me ask you, how would you feel if someone took the time to understand you before you ever met? You'd lean in, you'd respect them, and you'd be more open to what they have to say to you. That, my friends, is strategic influence. Now, let's talk about the first impression you don't even realize you're making. Your appearance. These days, we've relaxed a lot, and in a lot of cases, a little too much. People think, hey, it's remote, it's casual, it doesn't matter. Let me tell you, it matters more than ever, because when everyone else is dialing down, the person who takes pride in how they show up stands out immediately. I'm not saying you have to wear Chanel or Armani on a Zoom call. I'm saying dress with intention. Dress in a way that signals, this matters to me. I take myself seriously, and I take this meeting seriously, because people take cues from you. And when you respect yourself, they respect you. And when you value the meeting, they in turn value your words. Now, this next one is simple but so overlooked, and that's that preparation is power. Look, AI can give you summaries, but influence doesn't come from regurgitating facts. It comes from sharing your perspective. So preparation should include not just knowing your facts, but also knowing your stance. Know what value you bring. What questions can you ask that others haven't thought of? Because here's the truth. The other people in the room know the difference between someone who's winging it and someone who's prepared, and nothing destroys influence faster than being the person who says, I didn't look into that yet. Don't ever be that person. Now, whether it's in person or on a digital platform, be early, be on time, because when you're early, you're calm and you're in control and you're not rushing in with your hair on fire. And here's the secret benefit. When you're early, you get the informal moments, and that's when you connect. That's when you shake hands, either in person and virtually, and say, hey, I love that article you wrote, or I saw that update your team posted. Amazing work. It's those little connections that make people more receptive when it's your turn to speak later. And it works because influence isn't just about what happens at the table, but rather it's about everything that happens around it. Did you know that where you sit also matters? At a rectangular table, the end positions carry the most authority. And on a Zoom call, being well lit, centered, and engaged makes you look like the leader. Here's the psychology behind it. People unconsciously associate certain positions with power. When you put thought into where you sit, you control the perception you're making before you even open your mouth. And that's influence without saying a single word. Now, let me be blunt. If you're looking at your phone, you're telling the room you're not important. And if the meeting's not important to you, why should your words be important to anyone else? Influence requires your full presence, and presence requires no phone. So put the phone away. Be all in. I mean, don't even glance at it. And also, know that when people feel heard, they're more open to hearing you. That's because listening isn't passive. It's a total power move. Now, this next one's simple, and that's that respect earns respect. In other words, when someone else is talking, let them finish completely. Don't cut them off. Don't jump in, because the person who waits, the person who listens fully, the person who then speaks with clarity, that person is seen as being thoughtful, not reactive. And in the long run, it's thoughtful that wins. You see, influence isn't about talking more. It's about talking better. Just ask yourself, what's the clearest, simplest way to say what I have to say so it lands? Because if you ramble, you lose people. But if you deliver with clarity, you become the voice people trust. And in 2025 and beyond, with attention spans shrinking, clarity is not just valuable, it's your survival. And just being present doesn't add to your presence, because you can't influence if you're invisible. So speak up. Ask sharp questions and offer perspective or support a colleague's idea. Basically, participation equals visibility, and visibility equals influence. If you want to be seen as valuable, then you have to contribute value. It's really that simple. Even in the age of AI note takers, you should be actively taking notes, because it shows that you're engaged and you care and that you're paying attention. It shows you're taking responsibility, and people notice. And when you're seen as the person who takes responsibility, influence increases. Now, multitasking, side chats, don't do it. Distractions break the flow. They tell the room, this isn't worth my attention. But when you're locked in, when you're fully engaged, you raise the standard for everyone. That is influence. Influence is multiplied when you make people feel included. Don't just talk to the boss. Don't just talk to the loudest person. Make eye contact with everyone. Acknowledge everyone, because the moment someone feels invisible, you've lost them forever. And here's the thing. Today's teams are diverse. They're global and they're hybrid. So inclusion isn't just nice, it's smart. The intern that you ignore today might be the decision maker tomorrow. Remember that. Influence doesn't mean always agreeing. It just means disagreeing with skill, perhaps. And also ask questions first. Understand their point. Then share your perspective calmly. And if the decision doesn't go your way, handle it with grace, because people don't just remember what you said, they remember how you made them feel. So respect builds trust, and trust. It's also going to build your influence. And for goodness sake, stay present, even when it's not about you. Here's where most people lose influence. When the agenda doesn't involve them, they check out. They look bored, they scroll, and everyone notices. The leaders notice, and they remember. Influence is built when you stay engaged, even when it's not your moment, because presence is always communicating, even in silence. Now, let's add the modern layer. These are the strategies for the world that we live in today. You want to master hybrid etiquette. Don't ignore people on screen when you're in the room. Call them in. Use their names. Make space for them. Hybrid influence is about bridging that gap. And leverage AI, but keep the human edge. AI can capture notes and AI can summarize, but influence comes from judgment, from connecting the dots, and from making the call that a machine can't possibly do. And manage attention in the attention economy. People are drowning in distraction. Use storytelling and use examples from real life and use emotion, because influence isn't about data, it's about engagement. And use digital body language as well. On digital calls, your tone, your expressions, your pacing, it all matters. Use your energy and show presence. Don't just exist on the screen, but own it. And signal your leadership through follow-up. After the meeting, send a summary, clarify your next steps, and volunteer for responsibility, because influence isn't just in the meeting room, it's in what you do afterward. So let me leave you with this. Meetings are not just about meeting. They are stages, they are auditions, they are proving grounds. Every time you walk into one, you're communicating who you are. So here's your challenge. At your very next meeting, apply just 3 of these strategies. Show up early, listen with your whole body, speak with clarity, watch how differently people respond, and then keep stacking them week after week, meeting after meeting, until you're no longer just another participant. You are the person who influences the room, because influence isn't just something you're given. Influence is something that you build. And starting today, you build it in every single meeting.